Welcome to the Condor DM show. It's casual talk night, baby. Ain't nothing casual about this, to be honest. We're covering the Undead. We're covering that. See that? We're going to cover that. Undead. You know, you might think it's just some throwaway topic. But to any real old school person, they get it. They know I'm covering something core to Dungeons and Dragons. The identity. You say you want to play a horror game? Well, baby, I got a horror game for you. D&D, TSR style, right? We're going to cover a very important topic tonight. It's going to be really interesting. We're going to deep dive. We're going to just enjoy horror. It's going to be fun because that's what D&D is, a horror game. Oh, it really is. It's going to be a blunt night, baby. It's going to be a blunt night, right? We're going to have a good fucking time. I'm going to cover some influences, old school D&D. We're going to go through some stuff, and I'm going to get up to some encounters. And we're going to definitely go casual, like stop after some bits. You can really talk about this stuff. Dig into it. Talk about the fun parts of the encounters, and then the ones that scare players off and drain your fucking levels. I mean, it's making danger sound fun. Whenever the new school talks about their stuff, I'm like, yeah, and they talk about the grind of the old school. I'm like, no, tonight, man, I'm going to make that danger sound exciting. You're going to find out what's attractive about old school D&D. Oh, trust me. Trust me. Some parts are going to freak you out. Other parts are going to be fun. Fine. We're going into it. If you like horror, if you like all that, that's what Dungeons and Dragons is all about. And we're going to celebrate it tonight. It's going to be a celebration of D&D, and we're going to love the hate watchers, right? We're going to love everyone. Anybody who wants to watch tonight, join in. But hey, it is for people that are sub to the channel to take part in the chat on casual night. That's what I've decided. So casual night is only for, as far as chat goes, it is going to be a special night for the people that support me. And we're going to cover some extremely interesting topics on casual night, man. Some stuff that it's not going to be in the rest of what I'm doing, the other streams, right? It's going to be exciting. And, here we love everyone. The people that hate us, we love them, right? We're going to watch everyone. The gate watchers, the hate watchers. Oh, I don't care. Just enjoy it. It's extremely going to be good because people don't really appreciate. They think this is just a toss away topic. I'm like, no way, man. This is so core to Dungeons and Dragons. Greetings from Wales. Hey, Michael. Hey, Craig. Right? We're going to have a good time. I'm energetic for tonight. Really excited. See, I don't get enough of stuff written out for an entire normal stream that I would do, but I got some, right? So it's a bit casual, a bit into the flames, right? Into the fire, baby. Again, we're going to have a blunt night. Very blunt. Very exciting. It's going to be good. Just giving people time to roll in so people are sitting back, comfortable, maybe ready to chat, maybe having a tea, painting their miniatures, knitting, whatever you do. I hear you. Oh, I thought you were being sarcastic. I was going to go with it. Either way, we're good. We're good. We're good for tonight. It's just going to be really good because I want people to be reminded that the old school danger and dirtiness is actually exciting. It can be exciting, but you need to explain to you and pitch to you in the right fucking way. Oh, with a little bit of cursing in there too. Look at me go. Look at me go. It's Undead night, baby. It's Undead night. I hope you're ready. We're going to wake up the skeletons, dig up the graves. We're going to get in some fights, right? By the end of the night, it's going to be a fucking good go. Cooking ramen. Well, that's an interesting situation. You cook ramen, I'll talk about Undead. That's how that's going to go. Maybe you'll find something dead in your ramen, and you'll raise it back up. It'll be energetic. We're going to talk about vampires. whites, all kinds of things that scare the living crap out of old school Dungeons and Dragons players, right? Hey, a little level drain, little level drain. I'm taking your levels. Oh, you're quitting? Go figure. All right, go figure. It's gonna be a good night, baby. It really is. Yeah, and we got to just remind ourselves what we're covering Saturday night. Aftermath. Whoo, boom, boom. Right, different timeline. And then we're going to go right back to King Arthur, Pendragon. That's going to be a fun night. Sunday. It's going to be good. Ooh, and I have a surprise person. I'm still figuring out time and date, but it seems like I do have another interview coming up. I found someone so unique to my history here on YouTube, and he covers another field of tabletop role-playing games, but he's like one of the most popular guys in a very unique field away from our topics and our talk, has his own circle of people, has been in a different circle of people for a lot of years. But see, I get around because I play a lot of different games. So surprisingly, even though I'm a D&D guy, I can lean into a lot, right? So that's a bonus, yeah. Cold spaghetti. You want to know it? It's one of those rare foods that if you like spaghetti, you're going to enjoy cold spaghetti. It's going to be a little cold tonight, though. A little chill in the air. Oh, it's going to be vampire night, like I said. But a lot of things, right? Before there was werewolves and vampire games, we had Dungeons and Dragons. Trust me, I have a lot of good stuff ready for you guys. You're going to be surprised because I really thought, when I put this out, I didn't want to promote it too much because I wanted old school guys that really know old school to go, oh, okay, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. And I wanted the rest of the people to be like, he's covering Undead. Who cares? Until they got here and realized, I'm covering something really, really good. It's a shame that we get so many negative things going on because I swear I'd have people on, I'd have panels, I do all that kind of stuff, but sometimes there's too much friction. Sometimes I perform better alone because I am a game master. It's like you're the players sitting at the table, and I'm here to take care of you for the night. Right? I do this. I just ran a game recently, so I'm energetic from that. Had a great fucking night. Players were fucking excited. Had a great fucking time. Had a great session. Yeah, that's how it goes. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're great. That one was great. And if you want to make your cleric not feel like a heel bot, you just got to remember the undead side of Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, they're going to appear somewhere in some adventure, somehow. Make your cleric meaningful, not just another heel bot traveling around with the group. Oh, you're here to cast a cure wounds. Well, here's a skeleton. Now that sword the fighter has means a little nothing. You got that flail? Break his skull. Great thing about clerics is they can wear the heavier armor. They can sort of get into that combative mode when they go into their fighting undead, or maybe turning undead if they get tricky, right? Suddenly an encounter, it's scary. Now it's not. Couple minutes away, like 2, maybe less. And then we start. So it's going to be like a fact-based night to a degree because I just got 5 parts to cover. So I'll go over it right quick so you guys know. Inspiration. I think it's so important because it's just getting you guys in the mood for this stuff. It's reminding you what this stuff is about, bringing it up. Then the core identity, because horror and undead is a core piece of Dungeons and Dragons. And then we're going to go into what I've decided is like the top. Hopefully my connection's okay. That could be an issue. I hope not. Because, before the next stream, if everything works out, I'm going to have an upgraded restream. I'm going to pay for this whole thing. Remember I told you. Yeah. Oh, I got to refresh. Give me a second. Oh, it can make me so angry, this thing, but here we are. We're good. I think we're back. We're good. I stopped getting bothered by this stuff because I realized everyone goes through it, so it's part of the gimmick. Wasn't the cleric as a class direct response to vampire player that was irking others at the table? Well, that would be great if it was. Not exactly, but definitely, definitely something. I know what you're talking about, but not exactly. I would say more from wargaming than anything. If you actually dig really far back, you get to the wargaming part, you start finding out really what inspires the cleric. And really, Undead was so suitable to the wargaming scene when you get to that fantasy part that a lot of things that you see later, it more comes from wargaming. Surprisingly, a lot of people don't match Undead with the wargaming part element before we get here, but it is there. It's more there than anywhere. That's where you get to the real core start of it. I'm not going to cover that exactly, and I can't remember exactly the details. I won't lie to you. But yeah, I know it starts at wargaming. That's really where you first hear about the religious character, right? Because you need one to fight the undead. But definitely got pushed by certain things, lots of things. And I think we are at the time. We're good. So I'm going to open this up and just talk about a few things. Hopefully the connection stays all right, right? That's what we're hoping. I've done all the things on my end like I normally can, but let's see. I'll slow down if it gets, I'll retract some things. I'll do whatever I have to do. We're going to have a good night no matter what, right? I'll bust through that connection issue. Inspirations behind Undead and TSR Dungeons and Dragons. Classic horror films, 1930s to the 1960s. The biggest influence, Universal horror era. Black and white monster movies. Well, as far as connecting to Dungeons and Dragons, I have to go back to the fantasy part of Chainmail. I really do. I know there's some books out there talking about earlier versions of this or ideas, but when I look at what inspired Gary and them to put it in D&D, it does come from Chainmail. That's where you're going to reach back. I don't know like I said, I don't know the exact details, but I am willing to cover. I am going to cover Chainmail. So when I cover Chainmail, I am going to make sure I note on a lot of things because that's to me where most everything starts. And I do have some notes on the Undead there. So I'm pretty sure I get that all covered there. I'm not going that far back to the actual start. We're just going to go into what inspires Gary as far as what he's reading, what he's into, the movies. This is the stuff, the real influence on Gary that gets him to put this stuff into the game. So as far as I'm concerned, some of this is really more the core than anything. But there are earlier stuff going on with the Undead, of course, right? I'll see if I can actually look at that. But I don't know if that stuff actually inspired Gary and them to put that stuff in. You could just find early ideas of it before that. There's early role-playing stuff before Gary. Like, if you really look back, Dungeons and Dragons is not the beginning, nor is Fantasy Chainmail, but it's the beginning for Gary and them. So you can find separate just lines that just don't connect, right? I honestly, I just could not find connections to Gary and them connecting that stuff. I have read about a bit of it, but it's hard to find the lines. I probably just have to find someone who's done better research than I have, to be honest. So I could be proven wrong. And like I said, I'm not perfect on this stuff. I know the games, as you know, and then I go into my research as best I can, and I see how far I can go into it. Right? There's a lot of deep researching, and not everything is just simple finding on the internet, no matter what you're using when you're searching this stuff out. And after some of the streams, I've been corrected on some of the stuff. Not corrected, but just like, oh, you missed this. So I'm going to do some of these, and I've already told my peeps, including you, Michael, I'm going to actually at one point do a stream where if I miss things, I'm going to try to backtrack and go, here's where I made a mistake. Here's what I didn't cover. This is probably going to be some of that, right? I just didn't get that far into it before we got here. And to be honest, outside of a little bit of editing, I just have so little time to add a lot of extra to this stuff. So just being real with you. That's all. So 1930s to the 1960s, biggest influence, Universal horror era, black and white monster movies. Direct lifts into the D&D. So this is where a lot of ideas start coming from for this stuff. Dracula, vampire, the mummy, Oh, I mean, if you want to go that far back, you can sort of find stuff, right? But it's just there's nothing done with it. So it's like you can say it's there, but there's not much done with it. It's interesting to talk about, but it's interesting, right? It's if you're getting really nerdy, and I guess you're trying to prove, oh, we can find it here. I'm like, you sort of find it there, sort of, right? No, no, no. But the hint of this type of game, honestly, if you go back all the way to Rome, I mean, you can find out crazy stuff. I did a lot of research in Rome and doing Roman stuff, and you can dig back and find some really weird wargaming for real in Rome. Forget the, just back in that time. You go all the way back to Rome, there is forms of what we call wargaming. And it makes sense. It wasn't like they had everything else. It just makes sense that some of the stuff is going to appear over time. And the Romans started off by just like many other people. They start putting it together so they can strategize, and then they start giving rules to it, right? And there you go, Michael. That's exactly it. So what I'm looking at is not the sort of, which I do appreciate the past on that. It's just, where is the really accurate stuff for D&D? Dungeons and Dragons. So direct lifts, Dracula, vampire, the mummy, Night of the Living Dead, zombies, graveyard skeleton, imagery, skeletons. So this stuff really did get to the D&D guys. They really did inspire them for real. So the classic stuff really worked. These weren't subtle inspirations. They were basically adaptations into the game mechanics. Like, boom. It's like you're picking up your mechanics by studying this stuff. Oh, this is what it does here. We turn that into a game mechanic, right? Why it matters. These movies made Undead mysterious, dangerous, and unstoppable. D&D just turned them into rules. It just took what you're reading about these things, and we get rules. That's why they're so diddly in TSR-D&D, because you're reading the classics going, man, that's crazy. And they're going, yeah, it is, and we're going to apply that here. That's why the new school can't really appreciate just how fucking tough this shit is. Really, really tough. Gothic literature, the tone and philosophy. Before movies, you got Bram Stoker, Dracula, Mary Shelley, Frankenstein, Edgar Allan Poe, death, decay, and dread themes. What this added to D&D? Atmosphere over explanation. So atmosphere over explanation. Death as something that lingers and comes back wrong. So it's never just you come back and then it's always twisted. That's what happens with the undead. The idea that the undead are tied to curse, sin, obsession. So the idea that undead are tied to curse, sin, and obsession. This is why undead are not just evil monsters. They're screwed up. You can see a bit of the hints of this in Ravenloft, right? But it's just all the way through undead. Folklore and mythology, ancient roots. Undead go way back. European folklore. Revenants, restless dead. Vampiric spirits. Middle Eastern ghouls, grave eaters, Egyptian mummification, and cursed tombs. Direct imports into D&D. Ghoul, almost straight from Arabic folklore. Vampire, Eastern European myth. Mummy, Egyptian burial, curse myth. Well, plus curse myth. TSR didn't invent undead. They collected and weaponized folklore, as we know. What these added? Necromancers raising the dead. Ancient ruins filled with cursed beings. Liches, very much D&D style evolution of the immortal sorcerer idea. This is where the undead become dungeon threats and magic system driven enemies. Wargaming roots. Here we go, some of the wargaming roots. Why undead work mechanically. D&D came out of miniature wargaming. See, I never put I go facts here. This stuff is all the stuff I'm going to really go off here. It's going to be facts, and then we'll get to my casual talk opinions on some of this stuff. But just get to the first part here, right? Oh yeah, Jason the Argonauts. Yeah, totally terrifying because it's realistic. It's relatable So it can be a little freaky when you're reading about that stuff, right? So undead fit perfectly because they are mindless troops, skeletons and zombies. Don't break moral. Easy to control as a game master. Very, very attractive. You're going to use undead quite often. Undead allowed early DMs to throw large forces at players without complex behavior rules. That's why skeletons, zombies are everywhere early on. Again, making the cleric type characters very valuable, right? Religious influence, clerics versus undead. Okay, this is one of the most defining D&D editions, inspired by Catholic imagery, holy symbols, exorcism traditions. Direct result, turning undead ability, holy versus unholy dynamic. That's like, so turning undead is like exorcism. Holy versus unholy, that's clerics versus undead, sort of on the classic sense. Why it matters. Undead aren't just monsters, they are spiritually opposed forces. That gives D&D good versus evil, divine versus cursed energy. Very important, good versus evil. Very classic center piece of what old school D&D was. Gary Gygax and early design philosophy. Gygax didn't hide this, he pulled from everything. So he didn't try to cover this up. It's just taken. He's taken inspiration. His approach, take recognizable monsters, make them mechanically dangerous. Very much so. Very much so. A lot of total party, like just party kills straight out with the undead, depending on what you're running into. Very freaky, like a shadow somewhere. You're getting hit, you don't know where it's from. We'll get to that. This is where undead becomes something new. Level drain, not from folklore. That's mechanically. Paralyze, mechanics. Immunity to normal weapons. These ideas came from horror and myth. The fair came from the mechanics. Why undead became so central to D&D? Because they check every box. They really do. Easy to understand. Everyone knows what a zombie is. Fit dungeon environments perfectly. Scale from weak to god tier. Skeleton to lich. Story. Oh, my patience, my patience. But we're good. We're good. I'm good. We're here. Sorry. Hopefully the connection just gets a little bit more stable. I've been worried about this because it's been warning me that there might be connection issues, and that's usually related to my situation. Cloudy. Sometimes it's the site restream. Okay, let's go back to this part. Why Undead became so central to D&D? Because they check every box, easy to understand. Everyone knows what a zombie is. Fit dungeon environments perfectly, as I already said. Scale from weak to god tier, skeleton to lich. Support both combat encounters for a Dungeons and Dragons game and story-driven horror. Okay, last little bit of this part, and then we'll stop and just have some talk here. Undead and D&D aren't original creations. They're greatest hits of human fare, turned into mechanics that punish you for underestimating them. So true. I mean, they guard tombs, they do everything, and they can be frightening. You know, sometimes we forget that there's horror going on in this game, and the way we treat things, the way we look at things, it's not exactly that. I like to have like a dungeon that grinds. My players hate going into my dungeons, not because it's not a normal dungeon, but I grind it out. I make it scary. I like pure fear of the mind. I get inside of the mind with this stuff. I tried to make everything as relatable, realistic, like the boogeyman in the closet, rather than just skeletons walking down for a simple fight, right? I want to make it as real feeling as I can. So I do that with the undead quite often. And I like a lot of the tricks with the undead, but they can be very unfair. A lot of combat feels very unfair with undead. And you get a lot of players that complain when it comes to undead monsters in the game. From level drain to just what they can do, like a shadow type of monster that is hitting you and you can't see it and you feel like you can't do anything. You can get quite upset as a player when that's happening to you. You're looking for an enemy. Man, there's no enemy. There's just darkness. You're not even sure if you should swing at it. So, I do like Michael digging, you know. I prefer usually when somebody adds some stuff here because there's some digging I just didn't bother doing. I didn't bother going back 100 years to see how they connect stuff. When I went to chainmail, all I knew was what inspired the chainmail stuff is simple. It's not hard. It's nothing from the past in the way you think. At least I never seen anything for Gary and them where they said the game ran 100 years ago, or somebody who's, maybe like a few years ahead of them at some of these ideas. It doesn't seem to be where it comes from. It's simple. It is the universal era black and white movie monsters. That's really where you get a lot of this. And then you mix in some classic, just natural folklore, and you start getting this. And then you play to the mechanics of the game, which Gary and them did. They were very gamey people. They're war gaming people. So like level drain, that's somewhat from like ideas from what you're watching and reading about, but really that's more game. What Undead are in TSR D&D, their core identity. Undead are not just monsters, they're violations of the natural order. They exist because of necromancy, curses, divine punishment, unfinished business, hatred. Big differences from modern takes. They are not cool anti-heroes. No, not at all. They are feared, unnatural, and almost always hostile. You don't meet undead where you're like, oh, hey, man, like, are we cool? No, you're not cool. And TSR tone, undead are something you don't negotiate with. You survive or you die. That's what makes them scary, right? They're there to kill you. They're not there to do anything other than that. You're not going to meet the great hero who's like, man, I found myself. No. You're not going to talk to a skeleton. Ain't going to happen. He's there to exit you out of this world. Two big categories. A, mindless undead. Skeletons, zombies. Traits, no intelligence, controlled by magic users. No fair, no moral. Simple but dangerous in numbers. Old school use, dungeon fodder, yes, but also attrition tools to drain the player characters. They grind parties down slowly. Okay, now we go to B, the B category. Intelligent undead. Ghouls, gas, whites. Another scary one. Race, mummies, vampires, liches. Traits, intelligent and intent, often tied to evil personalities or past lives, capable of planning, manipulation, and cruelty. These are not encounters. They are problems that define adventures. That's really important because, a vampire could be the main bad guy. These are going to be the ones that set up things that are very unique. They're intelligent. It's not going to be so simple. So they're going to have a more effect on what you're doing overall than just being some random run-in fodder encounter. They're going to have an effect on what's going on. Hence, they are problems that define adventures. The real threat, level drain. The oh shit mechanic. When I looked into this, I had to find terms to describe what was this. And every time I looked at TSR people, one of the classic statements about this was the oh shit mechanic, right? So this is the oh shit mechanic. This is the defining TSR undead mechanic. Whites, race, vampires, etc. One hit, you lose levels. That means HP gone, abilities reduced, spells lost, progress erased. Why this matters? This is psychological horror. players fear undead more than dragons because a dragon might kill you. Undead ruin your character permanently. This is one of the harshest mechanics in old school play. I've had people scream at me for losing levels. They screamed at me that I even applied this mechanic to the game. Right? If they get hit, all right, you're down, you're losing levels. Huh? And it's like, really, in the middle of the thing, we gotta do all this. Yeah. Erased progress. A lot of guys host ruled this out. I don't care how many people tell me they ran raw. I ran raw. I hear a lot of the raw guys go on about raw all the time. And I'm like, well, I did raw. I did a lot of raw. Probably ran more raw sessions than the guys who promote raw gameplay. Actually, pretty much when it comes to the young guys on here that always talk about read the rules and play raw, I guarantee I've dwarfed them in running raw D&D gaming sessions. My numbers dwarf anything they've ever done. So even though I am someone who's open to making changes, I look at the raw guys and I find them a bit adorable because I'm like, well, you can criticize my freedom take on this whole thing, but I still done more raw gaming sessions than you. Period. Way more experience. Way more. Probably well over 1,000, around 1,500 probably if you look at from OD&D up to 2nd edition raw gaming sessions. And I ran raw quite a bit with every single edition without changes. So when I say I respect raw and reading the rules, here's my first introduction. When I asked about playing, I had a book thrown at me and I was told, read the book. Well, they talk about reading the books. I read the book front to back twice before I ever played my first gaming session of D&D. So I read a lot. Core stuff. Okay. Turning undead. Here's one I go back to and forth on. Our ghost undead. I tend to play it out as being in universe sacred debate. I'm trying to think. My brain's going into this one. I would say I would treat them as undead because the idea of undead is really this. This is what I think. It's death, but death is, instead of being permanent, you're existing somehow in the world. So either through a body or through a ghostly form. So I would say on that end, yeah, they're completely undead. And the game pretty much treats them as that because it's the idea of just the dead is permanently gone. The undead is something that is still existing in the plane of existence that you're on. So that would be ghost too, right? That's what I would say. That's going to be my case for it there. I don't know how you feel about it, Garrett. If you're strong on that one, maybe you disagree. But I would say just for the sake that they exist on the plane, just like skeletons and vampires, right away they're undead. Because if not, they should be permanently dead. Undead is you're not alive, but you're back here where you shouldn't be to a degree. You're existing here when you shouldn't exist here. That's undead. That's unnatural. Hence ghost, right? Turning undead. Clerics matter a lot. Clerics are essential, not optional. Turning forces undead to flee, be held at bay, or be outright destroyed at higher levels. Jess Franco's Tomb of Blind Dead. Oh yeah, definitely. Undead Knights are some of the most fantastic, scary things there are. Right? Truly. Undead Templar Holy Knights are just, you go from something good to extremely evil. It's like, it's a twist on things. Flames, nightmares. Yeah, definitely inspired. Clerics are essential, like I said, not optional. Turning forces undead to flee, be held at bay, or outright destroyed, again at higher levels. This creates a holy versus unholy dynamic. Clerics are frontline defenders, not just healers. They can do combat. That's why they can wear heavy armor. It's why they can be somewhat treated in the combative fighting zone. Without a cleric, undead encounters become way more dangerous, obviously. Because you got your cleric, he's going to have the type of weaponry that's made to do full damage against a lot of the undead. And a lot of times, let's be real, when people make fighters or other characters like that, they're picking blades, and that does half damage to the undead, right? A lot of people forget that part. A sword does half damage to a skeleton, right? So you're going to be chipping away for a while. It's not going to be easy. Clever players, this is off of this. Clever players with blades and that do what I call shots. A lot of them, if they want to be really effective. If you guys know what call shots are, just detailed attacks to try to fuck up a monster, and then leave it to the DM. Well, I was able to pop that bone out. What does that mean? Does he lose a leg, or who knows? But call shots can be very effective if you're a clever player, if you just have blades or something against undead. So you can fall back on some clever little maneuvers. It's like I remember, stabbing like a blade through the leg, so the handle is going to bang on the leg and stick them down to the ground. And even though I'm not really doing damage, I'm trying to make it that I stab through, and then the skeleton would have to try to pull the sword up to move the leg stuck there, and then I could do something else, change a weapon, do something. So, call shots can be very clever play. That's an opinion zone. I think it's fact. So, undead as horror. That's what they are, not just combat. TSR Undead lean heavily into horror themes, as they should. I don't know how you can call Dungeons and Dragons just some fighting game. Like, you look at it and it's a horror. The whole thing is horror. Think about it. You see a dragon. How is that not horrifically scary? And like, even outside the undead, it's just, to me, it's fantasy, but it's fantasy horror. I remember watching the movie Legend, and it's the one with Tom Cruise. I think that's the one I'm talking about there. And even though there's Elvis and there's all this fantasy stuff in there, there's just a part when you get to the evil where it's like, okay, this is the horror part of the movie. And it feels like you're meeting the devil. You're meeting all these screwed up things, right? It's a very horrific part of the movie. And to me, fantasy is horror when you add everything in. So undead as horror, not just combat. TSR Undead lean heavily into the horror themes. Ghouls paralyze and eat you alive. People forget that part. You run into a ghoul, you failed, you're paralyzed. And then it's like that zombie. It's jumping on you and eating you while you can't move. That sucks. And when you're playing pure theater of the mind, that really sucks. At that point, a lot of guys do want to play with the miniatures or play outside. Like, just don't get in my head with this shit, please. Because especially my players that know me, they're going to know I'm going to be inside of their mind. If that happens to them, they're just like, they're getting up and like taking a breather from the table. Like, Jesus, man. Because they're going to think about what I give them details on. And that's going to bother them. I have been inside the heads of my players all the time. I'm going to bother them with that. So ghouls paralyze and eat you alive. Mummies, disease, curses, dread. Oh, they can just make it's almost like less about instant, but it's like, oh yeah, you've been cursed. Well, what's going to happen gradually as you're going forward? You've got a disease. Okay, it's not instantly scary, but you're like, shit, what does that mean? Like, what is going to happen to me now? It's inside of your mind, right? Vampires, manipulation, domination, and charm. Well, they're very charming, but they're going to own you, and they're going to manipulate you into doing shit you don't want to do, right? It's like, oh man, what happened to me, right? You being charmed. Liches, ancient intelligent plus pure evil intent, where you just know this is something that's meant to be a bit wiser than you. It's been around for a while, and man, the intent behind this thing is not good. So it's like the DM just saying, This guy is out to fuck you. Like, and there's no way around. This guy is out to get you and make it that it's a horror story for you for sure going forward. Key idea. Undead are often tied to tombs, ruins, cursed lands, forgotten history. They carry story weight, not just stats. So they can tell you about the history of the place. Maybe it was somebody very important to the history of that location. Going down to their tomb is going to tell you something about the area. You can really play a lot into the undead because they are going to be obviously attached to the setting in many ways. They're going to be part of the story of the setting, right? What's going on, the details. So if a DM understands that, they're definitely going to make sure undead are just not just throw away things in the game. They should be a thing that helps you communicate setting, local area. You hear a story about a warrior. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, I'm meeting him. Fuck. But you don't want to because this thing is it's not good, right? Might be a white or something, right? It's like, oh yeah, you're cursed, you're here. I thought you were gone. But and it's not like you get to shake his hands like he's some new school thing. It's like, no, this guy is going to wreck your ass, right? Ecology of undead. Why they exist in the world. Old school didn't always over-explain, but patterns show. Graveyards equal low-level undead. Pretty common. It's a classic one. You know that's going to happen. Battlefields can be mass undead. That's where war happened. All right, dude, let's not walk through there. Let's not walk through there. Cursed sites. Unique undead. That's where you're going to find the ones that you just don't want to. A cursed location, it's like, man, that's not going to be normal. That's not going to be skeletons getting up. That's something unique, right? Powerful magic users controlled undead. Undead often signal something went wrong here badly. So it's going to tell you a bad story. Like, man, a massive war happened here. Everyone lost their lives. Again, you go back to the setting. You go back to all that. So a lot can be communicated through the undead if you're clever and really understanding. You should be connecting this stuff, right? It shouldn't be throwaway. Oh, you're just meeting some skeletons at that graveyard. Well, who were these people? Are these the people that got lost? Were they buried here? Is it an old church abandoned? If you take advantage as a DM, you can keep extending the scene, making it interesting, even though it's going to be scary. Power scale of undead. Low threat, skeletons and zombies. Mid threat, ghouls, shadows, as I told you about, whites. High threat, race, mummies. Top tier, vampires and liches. Important. Even mid tier, undead can be dangerous, can be more dangerous than big monsters because of status effects, plus level drain. Level drain is the scariest thing in the game, outside of a total party kill, right? Again, it's what you're like, oh, I'm going to meet an ancient dragon. You're like, that or you can fight a vampire. And you're like level 4. You're like, okay, I'll take my chances fighting the ancient dragon. Huh? But if you know what the vampire can do, it's like, yeah, I'll die against the dragon because if not, he'll turn me into a fucking baby and eat me. Right? Undead versus other monsters and why they stand out. Orcs, you fight them. Dragons, you avoid or plan. Undead, you fear engaging at all. Let me go over that again. Orcs, you fight them. Dragons, you avoid, too low level, or you plan, strategize. You can't just fight them like orcs. But the undead, you just don't want to fight them. You just don't want to fight them. They are less about tactics and more about risk versus consequence. Or consequences, depending on how many things are being thrown at you at once. Design philosophy. TSR undead are built around punishment mechanics, hence level drain. Permanent consequences, again, level drain. Atmosphere over balance. That thing can level drain. Are you scared? Joking. But I mean, just describing them right, approach being realistic and make sure you put people in relatable situations. If you want to make these things scary, don't just like they see skeletons. Make something airy. Make the place feel dark like it would be dark. Like put relatable, spooky atmospheres around. Stuff that in real life bothers people. It's like walking down the road in the middle of the forest late at night. Now you're not, we drive down fucking highways all the time. You see the darkness of the forest. It's creepy. Like when you think about, if you're in your mind about it, well, imagine you're walking down that same pitch dark area, right? Or you never know. Maybe you start hearing noises while you're trying to make a camp. Okay. Modern games tried to balance the encounters. It takes I'm not a religious person, but this is the best language I can use. It takes the soul out of these encounters, right? They're not meant to be balanced. They're meant to be freaky. And to me, what is balance? Even if I encounter a monster that could wipe me out, isn't it down to strategy? That can overcome monsters that are not balanced or meant to be balanced. People forget how important strategy is in old school TSR Dungeons and Dragons. Actually, strategy is good in all games. A lot of players, sadly, need to have someone poke them in that direction. You get the few great players. You get the odd players that are fucking fantastic. They can think. They can just they can run circles around a lot of the other guys. You can get guys in that zone, but you got to get them thinking a bit more than just swing your sword at the monster. You got to say, it's like that skeleton thing. Stab the sword down, handle locks the fucking leg in place, right? Or I need a delay. Monsters are getting too close to me, and the archer shooting, and he doesn't want to hit me, but he doesn't want to hit, if they get too close to me, he doesn't want to hit me. So I'm like, okay, I got a chain, start swinging that chain around. And the idea is to convince the DM that I can delay the goblins or whatever's coming in on me and keep them back at a distance enough that there's a few extra clean shots the archer can get off at the goblins without just cleanly hitting me by mistake, right? So it's clever shit like that when you're a player. I was always a clever player with little things, and you could take what was seemingly unbalanced and change your entire circumstance just by locking the skeleton down. Now that one can't move, right? At least you're starting to cut numbers down. You're cutting things off. You're making things easier. Again, you could pop bones. You could do all of that with a weapon that's sharp that usually only does half damage. Well, it might only do half damage, but you can still do a little pokey in there, right? TSR doesn't care if it's fair. I love that about TSR. The world is the world. It doesn't give a fuck. It's not there to make sure it's meeting up to your level. That's not the point of the world. Cares if it's memorable and dangerous. So actually, it wants it to be unfair because in a way it's meant to be. And it wants you to be freaked out by the entire encounter so you remember that when you're going through it. What is dead may never die. So true. You knocked it out this time. Can they call it back again? Okay, why old school Undead works so well. They create real tension with a good DM. Again, atmosphere, relatable, real life stuff. Like you got your fantasy, but there's little things we get spooked out by that if you can apply that and just take it from real world, oh, that's creepy. Then you start adding the potential of these undead creatures, and you see people get worried. And again, if you're like me, pure theater of the mind, you're in the mind. So you're doing relatable, then you're doing when you describe it's all vision. Yep. TSR doesn't care about your puny human feelings. So true. They punish careless play. Oh, you're going to be stupid with Undead? Okay, there goes some levels. Or there goes you're paralyzed. I can't move. Oh shit, what's going on? I can't scream for the others? You can't move, dude. What are the things in front of me? They're coming. What? And you start just giving the details in the mind. Oh man, if players are bought in, it's good for them. It's intense, but it's freaky. It's fucking freaky. They make clerics matter. They turn exploration into horror. They create stories players remember forever. You know, it's one thing just to go fight the skeletons and you're going through the game, blah, 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 right? But when this shit happens, when you get the freaky moments, you don't forget that. That sticks out to you. That freaks you out. That's something you remember, right? In TSR D&D, undead aren't just enemies, they're consequences waiting to happen. Ghouls and wights, oh my, yes, baby. I'm trying to make sure I stop and talk casual. It's some of the questions early there. I feel bad about Michael asking me about a few of the more real deep background questions where I was investigating into this. But I think I did more of that with chainmail. I never thought to bring those notes with me to this one. And I don't want to go dragging that up right now because it just takes some work to drag those notes back up. And I haven't cleanly edited all the chainmail stuff, but I do talk about the undead there. I do go back to, I mentioned the Roman stuff that I mentioned to Michael earlier. I just didn't have that ready for now. And I don't want to try to go off the top of my head with that stuff because it's one thing for me to remember the game and gaming. I didn't know the history before I started researching. So some of that stuff isn't just purely here for me to talk about. I wish it was. I tried to think it over when you mentioned this stuff, but I was like, I'll get it when we go to chainmail. I'll remember that, Michael, when we get to chainmail, some of the stuff you asked me tonight. I'll even go back over this just to make sure when I get there, I'll be like, hey, remember that shit you were asking me about the undead and all this and where it came from? I think I got some more clear answers on that, like very accurate stuff, right? I wasn't so worried about that. All I knew was this. I know for sure it comes from the movies and them applying undead to chainmail in actual wargaming. And it worked. So on top of being inspired by the movies, that's the real inspiration. They loved it because you could apply this stuff like zombies, like, this stuff to the wargaming before we get to D&D. Live undead. Vampires drain 2 levels a hit. Well, depending on the DM, right? White. Okay, so these are top 5 most feared undead TSR play. Why players panic. So these are the most top 5 feared undead. I would say they're the most feared. I don't know. Somebody could debate me on this. This is opinion, sort of. But now it's all facts I'm going into. But I picked 5 undead monsters I think are the worst to fucking encounter in the game as far as dealing with their shit. The white. The first time you realize the game isn't fair is encountering one of these things. Early dungeon appearance, often way earlier than players expect, hits level drain. So it's before vampires, these things are already level draining. Like, people know vampires for level drains, whites also level drain. And they usually show up in groups. Like a vampire shows up, he hits you, boom. These guys show up, it's like more than one. You're like, okay, what can they? Oh, there goes your levels. There goes your levels. So they usually show up in groups. Why players panic? This is often the first level drain encounter. Level drain is it's one of the scariest mechanics in the whole game as far as players are concerned because they just don't want to lose levels. They don't want to have to go through changing their character in the middle of the game. It's all that it's so hard fought to get to the next level. And a lot of guys are slow grinding levels up. So you can play forever at level 3, forever at level 4. Imagine you play like fucking 5 sessions at level 4 and you get hit. All right, you're going down to level 2. What? Yeah. You imagine some players get really mad, like I said. Again, why players panic? This is often the first level drain encounter. Players go from confident to terrified instantly. They want to back away, get away. You realize, oh, I can lose progress permanently? Yeah. Yeah, it is, Steven. You're right. For some players, they love this shit. They love it. They love the craziness of it. Not many. Some players just handle it because they're old school. Some players quit the game. I think everyone's experienced it if they apply it, because here's the truth. Most DMs host rule level draining out. I know that's not what people want to hear because a lot of people like the hardcore. But in my personal experience, and I've met lots of guys, this is gone. I don't, but they do. So just saying. This is the moment TSR D&D clicks. The game stops being heroic and becomes what it really is, survival. People forget that. Whenever I hear it's a heroic game, I'm like, no, it's not. It's a survival game. That's what Dungeons and Dragons is. That's why winning doesn't matter. You ever wonder why winning doesn't matter? Well, if you're the hero, you win, you save the day. No, it's not about that. It's about surviving. Wraith. You're already dead. You just don't know it yet. That's what a Wraith is. Stronger, harder to hit, often needs magic weapons to hit it. Still drains levels. Yep, let me remind you, Wraith drains levels, often immune to normal attacks. Just imagine you meet one of these things just by accident. You like get to the wrong part of a dungeon. You're like, you take your sword, you stab it through it, and the thing is just like looking at you like, what? There goes levels. Right? So often immune to normal attacks. Why players panic? You can't even fight it properly. You can't hurt it. Even that's just a trickery. The sword goes through it, it ain't damage. It drains you while you're struggling to hit it. You stab in, bang. What happened? Combo fair. Limited damage options, level drain, hopelessness sets in fast when you encounter one of these things. If you don't have something magical, you're just like, how do I fight this? You don't even have time to ask the question. You're just like, I can't damage this. Bang. There's a lot of total party kills with these things. Ghoul. Low-level party killer. Shows up early. Paralyzes on hit. Often appears in packs. Why players panic? Paralyze, you're done. The rest of the ghouls eat you alive while your party watches helplessly. I've seen that. I've seen that straight out. You don't got many hit points. They're jumping. They've been paralyzed. The other characters can't get to you. The ghouls are on you. It's too late. Oh, man, that's hard. It's hard to watch new players go through that, like not being on the end of even being eaten. You can't save the other player's character. Like, it's fucked. They're fucked. They're paralyzed. They went into the room first, and they're being jumped and eaten. And they only have so many hit points, so they're going to be eaten quickly, and you're going to be like, what can I do? Stephen Kennedy, yep. So, while your party watches, like I said, no level drain needed. This is pure brutality. One failed save, character death spiral. It can lead to just everyone dying if you don't start backing off. Like sometimes you just got to realize that guy's gone. We got to go. Vampire, the intelligent predator, charm, domination, regeneration. And you don't want to run into this thing. Turns into mist, escapes death. Level drain plus high intelligence. When I say why players panic, this part that I covered, why wouldn't they? It's not just attacking you, it's playing you like a fucking fiddle. Can turn party members, control NPCs, escape, and come back later. Let me say that again, turn party members. Yeah. You're becoming one of them, or something like them, or a ghoul, maybe. So they escape and come back later. Got away in the mist? Yeah, you're not done with that guy. Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've done it. I've done the total party kill with them. It's brutal. It is absolutely, especially when, again, pure theater of the mind and you're in the mind. This shit's fucked up when you're in the head, right? Okay, so this is a villain, not a monster. We're talking about vampires still. Players panic because you don't beat a vampire in one fight. You survive a campaign against a vampire. Okay, so that's number 4. So what we go through so far? White, Wraith, Ghoul, Vampire. Lich. And I do have a honorable mention we'll get to in a second. Lich, top 5, you shouldn't be here. High level spellcaster, basically a wizard that never dies. Insane magical power. Uh-oh. Often has a hidden ability, like something very scary that you won't know about. Why players panic? You're not fighting a monster. You're fighting a genius level wizard with no fair death. I mean, what? Game wise, that's fucked. Let me explain that to you again. You're not fighting a monster. You're fighting a genius level wizard with no fear of death whatsoever. And that's the way he has to be played, right? The earliest Undead miniatures I know were Nazgul sculptured by Sterling A. Lanier, authors of Hero's Journey, and as seen in Appendix N. In the early 60s, the story token approved of them. Yeah, definitely. Miniature gameplay, like I said, we know this history. It's been explored a lot longer than, say, exact role playing we're talking about here. Liches are fucking freaky on this whole thing. So, Lich, it has prep time, spell knowledge, 0 mortality. Even if you win, it might not even be dead. Nice. Very nice. Honorable mention. Shadow the Silent Killer. Drains strength, not levels. No flashy mechanics, just weakens you until you collapse. Why it scares veteran players. I'm not talking about military players, I'm talking about people experienced with D&D. Why it scares experienced players. It's subtle. By the time you realize what's happening, you're already finished. Shadow is a creepy fucking thing to encounter. Very creepy. The real reason TSR Undead causes panic, it's not just what you do, it's what you take. Your levels go away. Your control, paralyzing, and charm. Your agency as a character, like with your character, because it's not agency the DM is taking away from you. It's that paralyzing. It's the charm. It's losing control of your character, but you're not being cheated. It's just taking the agency away from you in that moment through a mechanic, through an ability. Your time investment, level drain. You've been playing at level 4. You're close to level 5. Now you're level 2. Huh? Oh, that's a shame, Stephen Kennedy. I don't think too much. I did a little 5e. I didn't exactly know that. That's a real shame right there. Other monsters threaten your character in the game. Undead threaten your progress and identity. In TSR D&D, dragons might kill you, but undead erase you. Pretty nifty shit, right? Okay, this is where we get a little bit more casual. We're going to slow down here a bit. So that's all the sort of I want to get you into the mood type of shit, right? That's it's semi. But now we're to the part where it's the interesting part of the night. We're going to lay back here for a second. I'm going to take a breather. I'm going to keep reading right now, but I got 2 sections to cover, which is encounters. I don't want to go just read through them like boom, 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 like I just did. All that stuff is to get you in the mindset. That's what we're aiming here for. So I just want you to understand just how dangerous all this stuff is. The different monsters, the creepiness, and the inspiration, how core they are to D&D, how creepy they are, and then some of the most dangerous elements of these things, from level drain to charm to everything. They eat you, tasty bite. Oh, that's, yeah. Everything seems to want to somewhat bite you, or stab you, or put something through you, or charm you and then stick something up your bum. But it's either way, it's not going to be good. Your energy. I don't know if you're food like some of the other creatures would eat you, but in a way you are. In a way you are. So we're at the very casual part of the night. Sorry that took a bit to get through. That's an hour to get through just that bit because I wanted to add some casual stuff. Philo, I'm late as usual. No worries, Philo. You're good. Definitely if you get a chance to go back and check out some of the earlier stuff in this. This is me reminding people just how core Undead were to D&D. In a way, they're very core. It's almost the identity of Dungeons and Dragons. When I hear people saying they want to play a horror game, like I said earlier, you don't need to find a horror game. You have Dungeons and Dragons. Brains. More brains. Ghouls, definitely brains, but more like paralyzing and then like eating you. Just not brains in the same way, but they'll get to that part. Don't worry. Well, I'm going to go into the encounters now. This is the casual part, but yeah, I would look, in the new school, they really dial this down. And the old school, they make Undead as terrifying as I think they should be. Like, again, I went over this stuff to remind people. Players were more worried about Undead sometimes than dragons. You put a big monster in front of the characters, they're like, yeah, okay, well, that's scary. There's a vampire over there. Okay, we'll fight the dragon. Huh? Yeah, we'll fight the dragon. We don't want to lose levels. Level drain, being controlled, being turned into a vampire, disease. It's like permanent shit is going to happen to you. And it can somewhat erase you, not just kill you. Gone. Right? It just reminds you that this game is less about heroes and more about survival. And the Undead really make that a necessary thing. But it spooks players because it is that grindy factor. Again, it's like you played a level 4 character. You're fucking 5 sessions into it. You fucking grind it towards level 5. You're almost there. The vampire comes up. Poke. Level 2. What? Level 2. No. Yes. And imagine only discovering this for the first time. Now, Philo and others, this is my personal experience. Even AD&D first edition DMs en masse, they host ruled this out. It's because so many players got sour about level drain. It's quite a classic argument. If you really don't believe me, go to a forum whenever you get a chance later or some other time and go to Dragon's Foot, right? And you can see them talk about the host ruling out level drain because it is so controversial with the players. Some players, they ask you right away, do you do level drain? Yes, we're not joining your game. I could fill up a room really quick, but that was the main question I always got, like, from a lot of players that knew the game. Do you do level drain? Yeah. Okay, not joining your game. I could still fill the game up in no time, but it was a lot of players that would say instantly no to that. Oh, on the Mommy, are you talking about like MU? MM? Oh, you're talking to Philo. I see. There's some interaction there. I love it when you guys start talking to each other. That's fine. Personally, like the whole mummy gimmick, yeah, I like the creepiness of the mummy, the disease and all that type of stuff, and the curses, especially the curses that come from mummies. Oh man, because here's what's creepy about a curse or a disease. Like, it's like, okay, you're fighting it, you killed it, and you're like, okay, I got one of these things. And it's not instant, but it starts fucking with you. So what happens to me now? We'll see. Like, in the moment where you're winning the fight, like, at least didn't take you down, but now what's going to happen? That's where it starts fucking with players' minds. Now what's going to happen? See, it's not that I think there's rules for Undead, but elements of stuff like that probably do exist. But I agree with you, Craig. I did the research, and I'm telling you, I only found up to chainmail, and that's where when I did chainmail, I covered the Undead, and you get the Undead rules. So that's where I was telling Michael earlier when he said, "Is there something earlier than that?" I personally didn't find it. I'm just open-minded because I know how nerds are. And if somebody comes by that knows this shit, and I'm saying, no, there's nothing before chainmail, they'd rip me a hole on that one. So I'd be like, oh shit, okay. And they drill it down my throat. This is where it comes from. So I just didn't want to fib and say I looked that far back that I know for sure. Though I do understand I got some more research done that I just can't remember for chainmail, but I think you're right because I can't find anything. It's chainmail where Undead starts, and the inspiration for the Undead first comes from the movies, but then the realization, wow, these are really good for actual wargaming, like having a bunch of like a skeleton army, right? You know what I mean? It's all these things sort of play where like zombies play well to actual war gaming. So you can see where that appeals into there. You get from chainmail to this game, obviously, for the fantasy version, and you get the Undead here, and they work for a story, for the story, for the setting. I want to go back over that again. The setting is really important. Oh. I worked it out. It took, I feel this is a little off topic. A little off topic, but let's talk about it. Bringing low level characters in. It's how you play and how you play with the group. So you got to remember at lower levels, if you're in with a higher level group and you're fighting something or facing or just having more opportunities at more experience points, as long as you're not foolish, you could survive, get experience a little quicker, and get closer to higher levels, get closer to the rest of the guys. But now you got to play like a bit of like that wizard in the background and see how you can effectively help. And you got to be careful. And the other characters have to acknowledge that you don't have the same experience as they do. So it's all about keeping you alive in that way. It does actually work. It just takes some patience. It's because at higher levels, as long as you're going with that group, it's just more chances to gain more experience, right? So you're going to gain experience probably faster than you would if you were starting off as a group at level 1. If you're like level 1 and you're going with a group of level 5 guys, you're not at one point they're going to at least be a level ahead of you, but you could probably scam your way up to level 3 pretty quickly, start getting effectively into the group, catch up with level 4. They're still probably going to be bumping ahead of you, but not by much. If you know how D&D works, not by much. Oh, yeah. Well, that's screwbaggy. It's something you got to deal with. It's again, you're weaker, right? You can acknowledge it when you lose levels from draining, but it sucks. No getting around it. But again, you're now a sickly more person, or you're just weaker. You're a step back from where you were, right? So it's you got to acknowledge it. That got to be well communicated to the other characters. And now you got to hope you can just gain, again, that experience to get yourself bumped up a little faster. I've seen guys pull that off, lose a few levels fighting something like a white, and then still get back up where they're going to stay like a level behind probably for the most of the game. They're not really going to catch up unless they do some extraordinary shit on their own and earn more experience than the others. But for the most part, they can catch back up. It's just a pain in the ass, right? But it just in natural, whenever I heard like bringing low level people like characters in, you can do it, but you got to have good communication, players that are going to understand what's going on, and you don't run in like an idiot. You're level 1. They're going to fight that boule. You're like, man, I'll fight. I'm like, okay, it's just going to realize it's a boule, right? I'm never one of these DMs to go, you sure you want to do that? I just go, okay. My players will tell you that. They never hear that line from me. Hey, you sure you want to do that? I never say anything like that. It's you're the player. You lead that part of the game. I don't. I'll let you learn. If you're new, I want to do that. Okay. And the other players are just like screaming their minds. No. They're like their characters aren't there, but they can't say anything. And I'm not giving the warning. And they're just like, they know me. I never give any type of hint that you're making a boo-boo. Right? I just go, yep. Because I let new players walk into fire. And there's a reason I do it, because in reality, in my opinion, I don't care if you die your first go. Look, almost every new player I've encountered, when you don't hold back, when you're even allowed the brutality, they get excited about the game. They don't want the weak game. They want the gloves off. A lot of players, At least that's been my experience over the years. Some players can be, but very odd, really complain about that type of stuff happening. But a lot of them, my best players were guys that came in and got wiped out with, just fighting orcs, just fucking clean clocked out, killed. And they're just like, I'm like, do you want to still play, dude? Damn right, I'm going to make a new character. Because now they know I'm a real DM that's not going to hold back on them. They want that experience. They want to know that this is what this is, and they got to take it serious. Players love that shit. You put the gloves on with them, I think you spoil it for a lot of people. You won't realize it. Just my take. Honestly, right? But again, I want to go back to the Undead. I've seen so many DMs not use the Undead to further enhance the setting that you're in or the local area. They should be related. The Undead skeletons. Oh, he's wearing that thing where you met that woman in the town. She's like, yeah, I haven't seen my husband. He got lost. I haven't seen him like 8 years. I don't know if he left me or whatever. And she tells you what he was wearing. And the next thing you know, you're fighting a skeleton. You're like, you get the detail from me. Like, he's wearing this. That's him. Well, he's this. Okay. That's him, right? It's little things like, or somebody important to the scene, or just communication. So they should be combat. They can scare you, but they can also tell a story about the place, right? Because they should be related. Just saying. I mean, we're going to cover encounters now. Give me a moment here. Be patient with me for a second. So the first bit of encounters I'm going to cover are what I consider the fun ones. Dangerous but fun. These are the ones that are the cool ones. Cool encounters. Okay, first one. Now I'm not just going to speed through them here. The graveyard ambush. Ghouls and gas. Why it works. Paralyze plus numbers. Instant panic. Party passes through a foggy graveyard at night. At night, like I said, atmosphere. 6 to 12 ghouls burst from the shallow graves. 1 to 2 gas lurk behind. Stinking aura disrupting combat. Like, whoa, what the fuck is this? The smell of death coming in your face. Paralyzes in AD&D can lock down frontliners immediately. So you get your warrior and your cleric, but they're like, boom, they hit that. Uh-oh. It becomes very dangerous. One bad save, and the fighter is just meat, like I said. Can't move, he's getting eaten really quickly. This was now back in the day, this is how I wrote it down. This was a low mid-level party killer if handled poorly by the DM and the players, right? Like, just be ready for when you're encountering this stuff. Think. If not, die. That's how it works. So again, that's the graveyard ambush. Atmosphere is important. Pitch black, you can barely see. Maybe you found this place. Can you stay here the night? You don't get a camp set up for whatever reason. If you can create that reason, the graveyard ambush. Next thing you know, in this darkness, these things are coming up. You finally see them. It's hard to see them. You see the fucking things, the gas behind them, and there's just this odor of death rolling in your face. Next thing you know, your big warrior steps up. I got this. And he stops moving. Huh? And they're jumping on him. Like, what do? You're not a warrior that can tear these guys off. The cleric's trying to help. But what if as the cleric's helping, he goes stiff? What do you do? Run? Is it over? Are you all going to die? Ooh, spooky. Okay, number 2. The Noble Secret. Vampire in disguise. Why it works. Social encounter turns lethal. A charming noble is secretly a vampire. Clues? No reflection. The classic stuff. Avoids food. Servants act strangely. Ghouls. Fight usually happens after dark in the vampire's lair. They've lured you down. TSR twist. Level drain plus charm. Party turns on itself through the charm. Like you're like, hey man, like what's going on with this guy? Can't see him in the mirror. Next thing you know, when he turns on you, suddenly like oh, he's turning on us. And the fighter's like, yes. And so am I. And he turns around and like and the player's like, what's going on here? Why am I doing that? You've been charmed, dude. You're under his control. And I'll let you role play it, but I'll start telling you. Well, your instinct is to fight these other guys. You no longer see that as your enemy. You got to role play it. I'll let you control. That's part of your play. But you got to play to the reality that you are charmed. You don't bother trying to counter. Just tell me how you want this to go down, right? So I let players play that out. So, like I said, vampire. All right. So party turns on itself, and the vampire will flee in mist form if things go bad. Classic long game villain encounter. This could be the main villain at the end, or he's tricked you. He's hired you for a few things. You would do a few things. You're getting this. You're doing this, and you're coming back to him like, yeah, you like working for this guy. Yeah, he's getting you to bring stuff back to him because he wants to. At the end, he's going to trick you. He's going to get what he wants out of you, and then he's going to kill you all. Right? So it can be a classic long game type of villain encounter. Vampires aren't just something you just normally just meet. Like, oh, there's a vampire in the woods. Oh, shit, no. That's not how they're super intelligent. So again, this is the noble secret. He's playing a noble. You're working for him. He has some money, but it's a vampire that you're working for. You just don't realize it unless you start paying attention to the signs. You can't see him in the mirror. He's not talking to you outside in the daytime, right? It's classic shit. I hope I'm doing okay here on connection. I hope everyone's just good to go. Okay, we're going to go to the third one. The Barrow Mound, Whites and Race. Why it works. Level drain terror. Ancient burial mound filled with whites. Deeper chamber contains a Wraith Guardian. TSR twist. This is TSR. Level drain in TSR wasn't temporary. You lost levels, as we've already talked about, permanently. Players would rather fight a dragon than risk this. This is why it's terrifying. Especially if you're someone that knows as a player, right? It's like, okay, you start realizing you're seeing a white or a wraith. Uh-oh, you're fucked. You're completely fucked. You're scared. As a player, it starts fucking with your head. Are you bringing ideas from the Vampire Masquerade to RP Vampires? I mean, you can carry that over. You can definitely carry that over. There's a lot of great ideas from the Vampire Masquerade. We all know this is one beautiful thing about Dungeons and Dragons. A lot of games are what they are, and they can't really. It's hard to adapt things over. D&D, you can adapt things, right? You can take all kinds of ideas from there to here. So you could do that, but I mean, you want to make them clever. The noble thing is actually a classic thing in D&D, but of course, it's a vampire. You go to a vampire game, you're going to find things that connect with each other, even from Dungeons and Dragons to Vampire the Masquerade. So there'll be some connection. There'll be some similarities, right? Spectre. Oh, yeah, definitely. 100% agree with you. One of the most underrated ones for sure. Okay, actually, let's go into this one. The Endless Dead Skeleton Horde. Why it works? Resource attrition. It's going to drain you. Dozens of skeletons rise from a battlefield or a dungeon. Weak individually, overwhelming in numbers. TSR twist. Blunt weapons matters. Blunt weapons mattered. Fighters with swords suddenly feel useless. Again, unless you're being tricky, but still... if you don't get a blunt weapon, even being tricky can be, that's where you start feeling useless. Forces tactical thinking, choke points, retreat turning. So this is where it comes a little bit of that wargaming, because now you're in numbers. They're going to try to surround you, get you so you can't escape. And do you want to center them in, allow them to surround you, or break into an area where they can only get so many around you at once or something? This is all strategy at that point. Tactical thinking. So that's the endless did. So it's classic, but it's all about numbers. It's undead. They don't feel anything and they're stupid. Like they're not going to be like feeling pain. They don't run away. It's a problem with a skeleton. It's not like I beat them all. 3 of them are going. Oh, okay, fight's over. Not with skeletons. No. The last one will keep trying to kill you, even as you outnumbered and surrounded. Here's a classic one. The Haunted Ruin, Shadows. Why it works. Invisible stat drain horror. Shadows lurk in darkness, attacking silently. Each hit drains strength, not hit points. TSR twist. Hit 0 strength equals death. So it's draining strength from you. If it takes you down to 0, you die. No flashy damage, just creeping doom. Like you're just getting weaker and weaker. Players often didn't understand what was happening until it was too late, especially if you were new. They're like, okay, you're losing. I'm losing points. How? What's going on here? It's like, what's going on? And then when you hit 0, you're dead. The most horrifying, some of the stuff for the undead, the most horrifying is always your first experience. Like you don't know it's coming. You haven't had a chance to read the stuff. You don't understand it. And now you're going to encounter it. Here's another type of encounter. The Necromancer's Workshop, Mixed Undead. Why it works? Variety plus control. Necromancer commands zombies as tanks, skeletons as fodder, ghouls as disablers, paralyzing you. TSR twist. Undead synergy before it was a design trend. The mix matters more than raw power. One of the earliest design encounters instead of random tables. So this is just you're getting so many things coming at you at once, right? You got fodder. The skeletons are just falling in front of you, like they're fodder, but guess what's behind them? The much stronger zombie tanks. And if that doesn't work on you, like if you're fighting pretty good, the next thing you know, you're paralyzed from some ghouls. That's a really bad scene. Necromancer Workshop. You don't want to run into a group of sort of a mixed group of it that's created by a necromancer, because it can have this. It can have all these, like it's the necromancer almost becomes a bit of a wargaming, has the wand there, sending groups out at you, doing strategy. That can happen. Here's where Stephen Kennedy is going to appreciate this. I didn't forget what you just said. Spectre might be the most underrated undead in AD&D. The Cursed Manor. Spectre haunting. Why it works. Atmosphere plus high lethality. Party explores an abandoned manor. A spectre or ghost stalks them room by room. TSR twist. Spectre drains levels and are hard to hit. Many parties have no answers. Like you don't even know what to do. And this thing's just level's gone. Level's gone. Like what the fuck do I do? This is where it feels unfair sometimes. And these are the nice encounters, guys. These are the night. Wait till I get to the next round. The next round of the encounters that make people fucking leave the game. Bad. So they're more horror than combat until it suddenly isn't. It can end quickly. Specters are screwed up in this way. They're hard to hit and they can drain levels. Underrated, very much so, but almost unfair, as some players would say. Okay, this one's called the Cleric's Moment. This is setting up a scene where there's a chance to turn undead en masse. Why it works, it's a spotlight moment for the cleric. So you want to give the cleric that chance to turn. Swingy outcomes. Party overwhelmed by undead. Cleric attempts to turn undead. Twist, turn and could instantly end the encounter. You win. Or completely fail and doom the party. Overwhelmed, didn't do it, we're fucking dead. High drama, pure TSR energy. The edge of, do you get it or do you get wiped out? Only a few more here to go on these ones, but we'll take a breather there. Yeah. So clerics, I think you have to give them their opportunities. Like if you're going to play with undead and every time you're running into them, it's this, and the cleric is like, well, I fucking turn undead. Like, what do I do here? Well, you sort of got to give a spotlight moment. Here's your encounter where you can really turn the sway of battle. Like you could turn things around for you. If you don't create it, there's no opportunities. You got to give opportunities. Oh, Draco Lich and Demi Lich, they're fucked up in their own right. We'll probably hit on something like that. The Plague Crypt, Zombies and Disease. Why it works, slow burn consequences. Rotting zombies and sealed crypt. Infection disease spreads after combat. That's one of these things where I tell you, I mean, you're okay, you're fighting, you don't go down. But then what happens? Did you get the disease? Did you get caught up by this thing? What's the long run? It fucks with your mind. Not everything kills you immediately. Some things kill you later. Encourages caution and paranoia. Because trust me, if you're a player that understands what's going down here, you're going to be like, it's not instant, but it doesn't mean you're not scared. Like it's just freaky that you're like, okay, even if I survive this, what the fuck does that mean? Okay, next encounter, the Ancient Evil Lich encounter. Why it works, overwhelming power, a lich in its lair with traps, minions, and many other secrets hidden. Often not meant to be fought head on. Liches are too powerful. Old school design didn't balance encounters. This is the run or die moment. Probably run, most likely, if you meet a lich. Teaches players that not every fight is winnable. Liches are usually something you just don't want to encounter. It's like you think, oh, it's not. This is not a video game in that way. It's not new school. Why TSR Undead hit different? Undead and TSR weren't just HP bags. They attacked levels, wights and vampires. They attacked control, ghouls, like taking that away. Stats drained from shadows. Moral from fair, horror, and tone of the game. It's messing with your head. It's setting atmosphere. That's why even today, TSR Undead encounters feel more dangerous than modern versions. Balanced encounters, all that shit's just out the door with this one. It's just not there. Now, that's crazy. That's the nice ones. And some of those sound like party killers, like completely. I'll give you a lead into one of the dangerous ones. Shadows, the silent killer. No big entrance, no dramatic war, just you feel cold. I was talking about it earlier, but this one really hits on you. Like that one's going around draining you a bit. This one, it's going to be more subtle. This is your no big entrance, no dramatic war. You just start feeling cold. They don't hit HP, they drain strength. You don't even realize what's happening at first. You're getting cold. When your strength hits 0 again, you're dead, but you're just getting cold. It doesn't feel like you're getting punched or attacked. Why players quit? This is about quitting. Because it feels unfair, like I said earlier, but this is really where it hits. No big moment, just a slow creeping realization that your character is probably already gone. Like you're just like, what the fuck is going on here? And you feel like you can't do anything. And by the time I say you hit 0, oh, what the fuck? You're dead. Oh, all right, fuck, I'm done. I'm done. I didn't even have a chance. I didn't even have a fucking chance. Yeah, I know. You're not meant to, really. You should have just hoped you didn't run into it. But it can be there, and it's unfair. Old school D&D is unfair. It's unfair. It's truly unfair in many ways. And it doesn't balance encounters. So it can break people. It can absolutely break a player in old school D&D. Ghouls, the party ender. Low level, common, diddly. We talked about this earlier. Oh, Philo, you got that right. Yeah. It depends on how you feel about it, but yeah, you can do that. I 100% agree. Or I never take any option like that off the table. I just say it's like as long as a player is willing to come back and put some work in, or you can put that character. You can start a new character, but you're starting a new character, and I'm one of these people that will start you. Okay, you're not broken, but you're still not just coming in just evened out with the other characters. On occasion, I can bump you up a level or 2 or 3 if the guys are really high up, just to even it out a bit. But for the most part, if you're like level 5, the group's like level 5, you're coming in at level 1. That's how I am, personally. Ghouls, the party ender, low level, common, diddly. We talked about this. One failed save, paralyzed. You're watching people die. Why players quit? You're still conscious. You can't do anything. That's helplessness. That's what breaks people. I'd be inside people's heads when they got up and said, "Okay, man, I'm done. You're okay. You're not dead yet, dude. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear no more. I don't want to hear how my character's going to die. I'm just done." I've had to literally ask players to pause the game and go talk a guy back to the table, just like, fucking take a breather here, dude. I get it. Everyone else knows what's going on. It's part of what we experience, especially a new player, because I don't want them to feel like, just chill out, dude. But yeah, it can break people. It really can mentally. It's one thing to play with miniatures, another thing to be inside the head when this stuff is going on. Like, in one way, it's freaky, because we talked about this just during the rundown before we got to the encounters. Oh, Carrion Crawler, that's not undead, but that's fucked up too. Whites, the Dream Killer. This is where TSR stops playing nice. That's what I put. That's my note to it. This is where TSR stops playing nice. One hit, lose a level. Not temporary, as we already went over. Not a penalty, gone. Why players quit? This is, I told you about players playing multiple sessions. Spent months building that character. One bad fight, you're set back weeks, or even worse. Could be fucking months if you're losing more than one level. That makes players walk from the table. I don't know how many that's happened to you guys, but I've just ran for so many different players in the field of like over 2,000. Like, so you can imagine I've hit this stuff really, really hard. And it's weird. There's ways to encounter this stuff where it's not as bad, and then ways where people walk away. Vampires, the betrayer. This isn't just a fight, it's a psychological warfare. Charm your party members, drain levels, turn into mist, as we talked about when losing. Why players quit these fights? Because suddenly the party is fighting itself. The villain can't be finished, and everything feels stacked against you. This is where trust at the table starts to crack. Oh, if it's done well, yeah. Mm-hmm. But actually, Steve, I would argue that sometimes when it's done well, that's what breaks people. You get that? Make sense to you? When it's done well, it can break people. Like, when you're really in the mind with this stuff, when you're really in someone's head, it's going well, but it because it's going so well, it fucks with them. It fucks with people, right? And it can start to just, you don't trust what's going to happen next. Is this the whole game right here? Anyway, just saying. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes it's when it's done well with the undead, it makes people crack and walk away. Okay, Lich, as we said earlier, the final lesson of TSR design, you were never supposed to win this fight. That's what you find out when you try to fight a Lich. You maybe this is your first campaign. You're going to fight a Lich, you're fighting a high-level spellcaster surrounded by traps and undead. So killing it doesn't even matter. In a way, why players quit? Because this is the moment they realize this is a true moment. The Lich is it's the wake-up call. The game isn't balanced. The world doesn't care about them. It's one of the purest moments of D&D. And they walked away into something way over their heads. Total party kill or a total retreat. It can just make people think like, what is this game? And it's true. It's sad. You lose some players. Not many, though, as Stephen Kennedy said. A lot of players will love this stuff. Sadly, it's not as many players as we would love to love this stuff. That's why you have to host rule level drain most of the time. Like, most players refuse to play your game at level drain. Go back to the old school. You'll find, I'm talking about old school players, real old school players. most of them don't. This is why TSR lost a bunch of people. It's just true. A lot of the stuff made people go play Palladium or play Vampire the Masquerade. It's true. It's absolutely true. The real reason TSR Undead broke players, it wasn't just difficulty. It was what they attacked. Your agency, paralyzed, charm, gone. Your progress, level drain. Your certainty, hidden mechanics like shadows, gone. Modern games hit your HP. TSR Undead hit you. And that's why I really didn't have a stream for this one. I spread this out as much as I could. Oh man, I know I skipped over stuff like it just banging it out there. You get choppy with some of that stuff. It wasn't one of the best ones. That's why I wanted to sort of go into the casual mode and be able to talk about this because I've used Undead for years and I did the raw thing. It's like I do raw. I still do raw today. That's why when I hear people go on about raw, they don't. Player quit, yay, GM1. Oh, Philo. I love you. I love you. I love you, man. You're one of my favorite fucking people. Everyone's my favorite fucking people that come here. You're a special case. You're one of my guys, right? Totally one of my guys. You'd like me as a DM, I promise you. In any game I run. I think, especially like we talked about the other games I've talked about. It's you'd appreciate me because I go into the hardcore shit. Right? I know you would. I really know you would. Now I can do it a variety of ways too. Right? So I've done it where I've done the host rolling, but it's the raw thing. I hear the young guys talking about raw today, and I'm like, my idea is still do whatever is fun for you and your players. I still believe the experience outweighs the necessary focus on raw. Right? And I like to make changes, but even though I say that to people, my experience is vast. It's not a brag thing. It's just I've done so much raw that it's silly. Right? So I've done more raw than the guys who promote raw. And I go on with the raw agenda. You wouldn't believe it when you hear me speak, but I've done more raw than them and with their own fucking favorite games. It's like, you like AD&D 1? I did that raw more than you've ran any of these sessions in your life. I guarantee some of the young guys are still, even though they're young, they'll never ever catch up. Not bragging, I just did so much. I just know this. Older guys will never catch up to me at a certain point. The younger guys that like raw will never run as many raw sessions as I have in my lifetime. So I dug into raw on a scale they have no idea, right? I have wisdom from running raw AD&D first edition, running raw AD&D second edition, running raw Beck Me, running raw original Dungeons and Dragons. I ran them all in surplus numbers, surreal numbers too. But it was about learning the game purely and then getting to stages where I wanted to make changes because I'm a creative. See, I can't help it. I'm a creative. You tell me to stick to raw, that's like, I can do it to learn the wisdom of the game and I can love the experience. But I'm a creative that will not shut my mind off. And at a certain point, I'll give myself the complete freedom to go, I want to be creative. I don't want to shut my mind off to raw completely. So when I hit a certain point, I feel I've really gained a lot of wisdom with the system. That's when I get no fear at all, just making changes that I want. And you find out, especially with D&D, they say, well, if you make a change, it's going to break. No, fuck off. That's bullshit. You can make 50 changes. They work. Changes actually work pretty fucking easily with D&D. And D&D is, in many ways, it's flexible. Like when you go to make changes, you realize, oh, it works with that. Like it works for changes, even though I love it raw. So there's guys out there that I don't totally hate. I totally get where they come from. I don't want to mention his name as an insult, but like the basic expert. There's a part of me that I feel what he's saying. Like that's how you play the game right. I feel him. I get him on that, right? But I really come down to, I figured out from wisdom, just from pure wisdom. At the end of the day, I don't care about winning an argument. I really look at the experience I have with people. I value that more than anything. And I realize that experience is important. Now, I ran games like without level drain for some people that don't like level drain. I just did, but I ran the game a pure amount of times with level drain and surprised new players and was rough. It's the same thing with the guys that are like one of the guys I want, the interview guy. The interview guy is not a D&D guy. He hates fucking D&D. Hates D&D style, right? And he, for a lot of years, probably thought I was a D&D guy. Had no idea that I do all these other fucking narrative and story games. Because I do it all. I do Traveler. I like Traveler guys think they're opposite of D&D guys. Like, fuck you, D&D guys. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm also one of you. Huh? Aren't you a D&D guy, Steven? Yeah. But you also enjoy Traveler without the control? Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah, I know. Intestine zombies. Holy shit. You want to know what? It's zombies are still one of my favorite things to fucking put you through in the head. I like pure theater of the mind for that reason. I don't care what anybody says to this day. One thing about pure theater of the mind is you're inside the minds of the players, right? When I make you stay in your head and I describe shit to you, I can fuck with your mind. And I've done it so many, like, I gotta understand, I've done it thousands of times. So as you get to a certain point, you know how to get in players' minds. You really genuinely do. Like, I know little things, like I could bring you up to an area and I can give you enough details that will clarify something. And it will make the area pretty simple. Or I can just go, you know what, I'll only tell them about 3 things there. And here's what I trust what's going to happen. I'm going to then listen to the assumptions of the players. And you ever want to sit there and just take a normal area and then just make it spooky or fucking freaky for players? It could just be a normal area. I just know the manipulation part. I know if I just only give so much information and leave you to assume, you're going to assume the worst. Classic shit, right? But there's ways I can even adjust the worst thinking. I can start going, man, if I add this piece in when I'm telling them, that will definitely rile up the negative assumption towards something unique. So I can control where your assumption goes. And I know how to manipulate you as a game master. It's not bragging. It's just when you've done this thousands of times for thousands of players, you learn how to manipulate people through information. That's what we're doing as game masters. I'm not saying a word to be negative. It's part of the social contract. You're agreeing to allow me in certain games, especially, to manipulate you. So when you get up, I know I can give you the right information to get you away from assumptions. I can clear some stuff up and get you thinking where I want. I can also just leave your naked assumption to go. Or I can provide just so much information to control where the assumption is going. And I really understand these things in detail because I've done the scenes so many times with so many different players, thousands of times, boom, 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 boom. I bring guys into an area and go, well, it's only like a little farm place. And really, it's not a threat, but I can turn this whole thing into a fucked up mess. Like, it won't really be that, but in their minds, it will be that, right? Now, I'm unpredictable. I do this on purpose. I can manipulate you, and it's just a normal farm area. The next time, I make it scary, but I give you, like, the basic shit, like, to the point you think it's just a farm area. And my players get fucked by me. Like, they don't trust anything I do. Like, they don't trust anything I say to them. They're like, yeah, it could. Shit, it's his game. I don't know how many times my players are just like, fuck, we've done this before. What happened last time? Doesn't matter. Especially if it's a new player. What happened last time? Doesn't matter. It's Steven's game. Doesn't really matter. We can't count on whatever happened before. All right? We can't count on anything. And that's true. To be unpredictable, you can't just randomly have it happen. Here's what I learned as a game master. To get into the players' minds, to become unpredictable, you have to create the moments that you purposely create them so you can be unpredictable on purpose. So I'll create the situation here for that group of players that knows me. Then I create it somewhere else again on purpose so then I can give the different outcome. And then I'll give a different outcome, maybe a similar situation later. And what they're realizing, like a fucking yo-yo, they never know what the fuck is happening. I give the example when I talk about my game mastering. It's like, man, you're in a fucking storm. You fucking see a cabin. The storm hit you. You don't got time to camp. It's not that type of day, time of the day. You go into the cabin, you get in there, and you hear the branch. You don't hear a branch. You hear a noise. I'm giving a little bit away here, but just, you keep up with me on this. So you hear a little banging at the back wall of the cabin, and you're like, and hopefully I'll set it up where it sounds spooky. It's like someone banging on the cabin, like somebody's knocking, knock, knock, knock. And you're like, the fuck? At the back of the cabin? Somebody could be outside. I mean, you fucking creep out there. You're like, oh, it's a bit of windy, and what you realize, you look up, you see the tree, and you see a branch. Result, bang, bang, like a knock. Now, okay, you're thinking, okay, so the next time you get to a place that could be like a shack or a cabin, and it's like you hear the knock again you're like, was there a breeze outside? We weren't sure. But there's a knock. Maybe it's just, what, are we buying another tree again? And now, if you don't know me, when you go outside, it's not going to be a tree branch. It's going to be something else. And I'm going to purposely do that. And I'm going to purposely set up the scene again so I can create the unpredictability, get that in your mind. Now, another thing I don't do is I don't hold back. So it doesn't matter what the game is. If it ends at 0, it ends at 0. If I'm doing on death's door, I'll do -10, right? But my game is all about fucking you. So my players will tell you, even if it's not a meat grinder with Steven, you feel grinded through his whole game. Like some players say they'd rather go play a game with 5 characters and just die than play my game. And you'll be like, well, his game, well, wouldn't that mean his game is less deadly in certain situations? Yeah, Steven's game may be less deadly, I guess, if you're not going through, but it's a mind fuck. Like the players feel so much more drained than they do playing the game where they went through 3 characters. So they'll feel like mind fucked by me in a drained way where it's just like, your game is fucked, Steven. Fucked. Like they get beat up to the point where they're almost dead and they're not kicking ass. My players love my game, but they also get freaked out by my game. And some players can start off where they build up some confidence, but it doesn't take long to just lose it. You're an experienced player, like in his game. Yeah. Man, you kicked ass before, yeah. Why are you hiding? Why do you have your character hiding over there? Because it's his game. And that's all I've always heard that said to me about my game. It's always because I'm mentally fucking you on purpose. And that's why I like pure theater of the mind, because I like to stay in the mind all the time. So I stay in your vision, especially during fights, right? That's why I like pure theater of the mind combat. I like the idea that you see the shadow behind you, but you don't know what it is. There's no hint of anything, right? You're not looking at a miniature. I'm inside of your fucking head, right? And I know how to give you the details to get all the things there. We're good. I can do pure theater of the mind combat, like breathing air. No problem, right? So I like to mind fuck people completely. Like, again, it can all be innocent or it could blow up in your face. And I know how to manipulate with information. So it's just, once you do this so many times and you realize that's what you're doing. And my first DM was a military guy who was, I would call him like a sort of master in the zone of manipulation. And he worked with the U.S. military all the time. So even though he's a Canadian military, he'd work with the U.S. military because he'd go help with regime change. I'll leave it at that. I won't say too much more. But anyway, he was so nerdy. He was, on top of being very intelligent, of course, he took to games like D&D because it was about manipulation. He realized it. And so when I started playing, I played under him. And he fucked me because he's the best guy I've ever met in my life. He passed away, but here's how he fucked me. After I played his game, I spent 10 years looking for his game again, never found it. And after 10 years, I quit playing. And I enjoy game mastering like people do enjoying playing. So I enjoy game mastering for real. I'm not a forever DM. I always get offered. I'm a good player, so I'm always offered games. All right. And I know I can play, no problem, but I'm just like, I don't want to. I actually enjoy it. It's not a forever thing stuck for me. I have games offered to me online right now in person. Guys you probably know offered me games for sure, for real on here. Oh, Stephen Kennedy, you smell a tuna casserole in midst from the dark, dang dungeon corridor door. It was me jokingly saying, like I was saying to Stephen Kennedy earlier, that's like you think you're smelling food, you're smelling the fucking orcs washing up, right? The only Undead tabletop connection pre-chainmail I know was Hammer's Captain Clegg, 1962, starring Peter Cushing, a wargame player. It had a skeleton scarecrow and cavalrymen with skeleton horses. You probably find vague stuff, hints of it. But if we're looking at D&D, I don't think that will be the thing that drove them into it. I think really, from what I can tell, it's just easy to come up with these ideas, so you could probably find them elsewhere in history. I think Gary and them really just truly, in the general sense, were inspired by basic myth and lore, but the universal era of black and white movies, like the Dracula movies. I think that really drove them, and a lot of nerds love those fucking movies. I even when my young age, I watched every fucking black and white fucking monster movie. I still fucking watch them off and on now. I'm addicted to that shit, just like I'm Godzilla. I'm crazy. I'm fucking crazy. But I love that shit. So yeah, totally. That's another thing. I can't wait to finally. At one point, I'll be covering my first war game, and I want to shock people because I have not talked about wargaming at all. And people are like, they always connect me to second edition. They don't connect me to story games. That I do story games. They're like Traveler. They're like, you did Traveler for years, or Roll Master, Philo. Mr. Philo knows that. Hardcore as fuck. But nobody connects me to wargaming because I never talk about it. But I did shitloads of wargaming. Warhammer, Car Wars, Starship Troopers, the Third Reich. If you're a real wargamer, you'll know what I'm talking about. Right? Did it, baby. I did it. I did it all. I just keep it to myself. I just don't. I have confidence and I don't always have to talk about the shit. But I did a shitload of wargaming. Shitloads of wargaming. It will shock people how much. I did a fair amount of Warhammer, but very limited on knowledge. I like Craig because Craig and Black Rose, another guy, just has a bit more knowledge because I never committed myself to Warhammer in the way they probably have. So they mentioned some stuff to me recently where I'm just like, oh shit, yeah, okay, I'll cover that. I'll cover that. But Craig is really, really well in informing me. I love that about Craig. I love all my guys here. That's just, it's like Philo with Rollmaster. I knew he was. I have guys covering everything, right? But I personally cover everything. Now, the guy I'm going to bring on again, I am going to do an interview. I'm just waiting for him to sort out, and it's probably going to be an odd time. So I'll warn you guys. This guy he's such a special grab because I've known him for years as a YouTuber. And I don't want to tell you who he is, but it's going to be evening, and he's not a D&D guy. He loves Star Wars. He loves story gaming. He loves really being in the mind. I love this guy personally, just as a viewer of his content. And I don't want to say his name because some of you might have heard about him, but I do want to save it as a surprise because to me, he's so out of left field, but he actually has a pretty big following. It's just in a different section of the hobby. So he's not in our exact circle here. And I think some people will know I know some people in the circle know who he is because some of them reach out, but he's a grab because I'm surprised he said yes to me, but I've known him for years. I've interacted with him a bit, but I think what would have impressed him is, I'll give you a name of a YouTuber that used to be around all the time, Sam G. You guys might even know of a guy that passed away, Shauner. He's another guy that knows this guy. But a guy that there was a group of them, and they used to think I was just a D&D guy, and I was really simple at gaming, like I was a simple D&D. And I don't correct people. I let people assume shit about me. That's a big thing. So Sam G finally said, man, you say all this shit in your videos. I think you're full of shit, but I mean, who knows? Maybe you do everything you say. I said, okay, I'll run you a game. So me and Sam G actually played a few sessions where I ran him one-on-one, but it was just him wanting to really experience my game, right? Because I say a lot of shit, like as you can tell. Oh, with him, he can deep dive on this shit. He's a deep thinker. You guys will love him. He's in a way, he's sort of better on this stuff than I would be just talking. The guy's just fucking, he's a gem. Absolute fucking gem and unique, and the guy can talk. And he just has some deep thoughts. And as long as I ask the right questions, we're going to get some amazing shit from that guy. You're going to love that. I promise you. If you can step out of your more rougher game zone, this guy really gets into the mind stuff, and you'll appreciate it if you can find that. Like, I love variety, so I always hope that you guys start opening up, even if you're not. You should open up to a variety and not be so nerdy stickler to your shit, right? West End game version, yep. D6, I think he did D6, but he did everything. He did this other Star Wars too, so I think he's done both. I'm from Trent Valley, just downstream of Nottingham in Games Workshop, so it was all Jesus Christ, Craig, yeah. Sorry, I apologize for saying it that way, but when you put those details in, I know exactly what you're talking about. So you will especially love some of the stuff I've talked about, some of the wargaming. But from what you just tell me, you'll love the guy I'm bringing on. So if you guys, even if you have to watch the replay later, do that. Hate watchers, I love all those guys too. I wish some of the guys that didn't like me, I won't say names, I wish they would just shut up for a while so we could have made peace, because they'd be surprised. I would have probably brought them on, talked about this stuff with them. A lot of guys don't know how much I love talking about gaming, or it's like I keep giving them the hint. Just shut the fuck up for a minute, guys. Stop sending me shit. Stop talking trash to me. Right? I'm somebody valuable in this hobby. Stop fucking giving me crap. Right? Stop being, in some cases, maybe jealous. I don't know. I don't want to be too egotistic about it, but it feels that way. Like, some guys didn't make it on YouTube. Sorry, I did. Nothing personal, right? I'm a game master. You really fucking shocked that I'm okay at this shit? So it's like, I'm okay at this shit. Just fucking take a breather. Gaming together is more important than your fucking ego. Or talking games is more important than your fucking ego, right? Just calm the fuck down, leave me alone for a while, so I can stop hating you long enough to go, okay, I'm cool, now let's talk. And I did that. That's my point of showing people like Max Liao, DM Bloodworth, had some real grievance with these guys, but they shut the fuck up for a while. So we talked and talked gaming, had fun. Gee, how hard is that? Shut the fuck up for a while. Be fucking mature. Stop being fucking children. Stop hating somebody over fucking games and shit. Stop being jealous and stupid. Right? Stop seeing the recent shit I did too. It's I poke back at people. I'm not going to say names, but I poke back at people. You poke at me, I poke back at you. Take a breather. Right? You talk your shit, I talk my shit. Your fucking people don't need to freak out. Don't send my people over to fucking scream at you. Take a fucking breather and grow the fuck up. Right? It's not as dramatic as you make it out to be. I took a poke. I'm a small guy here. I don't have enough influence to make it a big fucking issue. Like, I personally just hurt your feelings. You're fine on YouTube, man. And some of the guys that go at me, they've gone at me with like 50 million times over the fucking years. I'm like, dude, I've taken all kinds of shit from you. What? I do a little fucking heavy poke back, and it's like, man, we got to destroy him. Really? Be a man. If you can dish it, you can take it, can't you? You dish it enough. I guess some guys out there that will dish it to me like 20 times, and I'm like, okay, here's my fucking 8-minute video replying to you. Dude, you dish this shit at me. You fucking do all this shit. It's like, I'm just giving it back to you a bit, baby. And here's the thing. I hate to pick on some of these guys, but I'm just a better shit talker. I just am. Now, you can hate my fucking guts, but at least recognize. Fucking give me my flowers on that. You want to compete with me in the shit talking area? I'm going to win. I'm just naturally a good shit talker. And not in the fucking tech shit. That's go nerdy shit. Any of these guys that talk shit to me, typing and sending comments, I'm like, get on live. Shit talk me here. I'll fucking eat you alive. Try to get your fucking ego going and get all confident when you're fucking on camera and see if you want to shit talk me then. Then you'll appreciate how good I'm at shit talking. So it's like I tell guys, why pick at me? And the guy that picked at me recently, it's like, look, here's our rhythm. He would do 10 fucking streams on me. I shit talk because I'm really good at it. He gets hurt. I get it. He's a bigger channel, but he's just It's not his gimmick. So he gets hurt by what I say, and he shuts up for a while. Because, like, I'm good at it. And then he comes back later, like Alzheimer's disease, forgets how hurt he was, gets over it, starts talking about me again. I'm like, okay, all right, we'll do this again. I'll do the little shit talk back. Bang. We're stuck in that rhythm with some guys, right? And I was hoping, regardless of, all right, we're not, it's doing interviews has to be interesting. Nothing personal. Steve again, you seek and destroy. That's my gimmick. The guy recently with the interview stuff, when I finally looked into him, you guys know how I do my interviews. Like GM Cody, DM Bloodworth, and Max Liao have a great history in the hobby. The guys have a variety of experience, and they actually know a lot of shit about the games. And I talk gaming. I'm not talking politics. I'm talking gaming. That's it. The recent guy has almost no history. He maybe played 2 games. I don't hate him. He talks a lot about politics. Cool, whatever. Master rapper class. I listen to the rap. People know this. But I'm like, I start looking into doing an interview with him. I start getting ready to study that, figure out what questions I'm going to ask. I realize, shit, there's nothing to ask this guy. He doesn't know that much of it. I'm not hating on him. He just doesn't know about that much of it. It's a focus on gaming and the history with gaming. But it's like, here's a guy without a real history like us. So I'm like, what am I going to fucking do? I don't hate the guy, but it's like, I still don't hate him after the shit. But it's like, I was really hoping that when we cut the interview off and it went where it went, it was like, you know what? He sent me what I thought was a decent thing. I thought he was like, oh, you're in a bad place. I'm like, okay, whatever. Fuck, fine. Okay. That sounds like you think I'm in a bad place. You're not going to, if you're a decent human being, you're going to say that to me. You're not going to kick dirt in my face, are you? And kick dirt in my face. And I'm like, I'm the wrong guy. I'm not weak. Kick dirt in my face. I'll fucking come out and fucking little fucking tongue lashing at you. My first army was dwarves, and I cast them myself using modules. Cool. Craig, you're a miniature guy. I like that. See, I did miniatures. That's another thing. I do Pure Theater of the Mind. Probably did about 300 sessions with miniatures, with D&D. I'm actually really good at using miniatures. And maybe one day I'll go get my fucking collection of miniatures, bring them back here, because I got them put away, and show them off to you, because nobody knows I have miniatures. Nobody knows I did 300 sessions of miniature play, because I'm confident. I don't need to tell everybody everything. It's not about bragging for me. I love this. I do everything. I did wargaming. Why wouldn't I have miniatures? Oh, sweet. Stephen Kennedy and Craig are connecting through miniatures on the Pure Theater of the Mind Stephen Condor's fucking stream. Go figure. I draw fucking miniature guys. Want to know why? That I draw everyone? Because they hear it. I'm a gamer. So Craig just knows I'm a gamer. That's it. Stephen knows I'm a gamer. All right. These guys know. They can feel it. They get the passion. Doesn't matter if I'm Pure Theater of the Mind. They just know. Some people just feel it, right? They know you're the right guy. Like I'm a type of guy that's going to be in the zone for these type of guys where I can say, you like miniatures? I'll do Pure Theater of the Mind. I know some guys that would never do Pure Theater of the Mind until it's me. They're like, I want no Pure Theater of the Mind. And I'm like, in the background, I'll run a game for you. Well, I'll play your fucking game, Steven, of course. That's because I'm good. It's not bragging. I'm at the stage where it's guys just know it's not a brag thing. So you ever get on the bike and you rode it so much that you can't really fuck it up? That's where I'm at with game mastering. I can't really fuck it up. I just don't know how to fuck it up anymore. I'm just it's not a brag thing. I mean, I either run a good session for you or I run a great one. I never run a bad one. I haven't run a bad session in fucking decades. I just gained too much to be in that zone. And I have to watch saying that because a lot of people take this type of talk as bragging, but it really is who I am. I'm really good at the gaming. So it is what it is. And I think people miss out. It's like, I have so much experience. Put the jealousy aside, dude. I know my shit. It's like guys telling me I'm using AI to write this stuff. Oh, you're fucking lazy. It's like, fuck off, man. I've done more gaming probably in 5 years than you've done your fucking entire life. Like, that's just the honest fucking truth between the two of us. Right? Yeah, and you probably will never catch up to the amount of gaming I've done in 5 years for the rest of your fucking life. You don't have enough time to do as much gaming as I've had in 5 years. So take a fucking chill pill, kid. That's how it works. You're not going to fucking hate me. Take a breather. Maybe one fucking day I'll talk to you and bring you on the fucking stream. Right? I know my shit. People should just respect me for who I am because I'm the real deal. I spent last year writing up all these things. They say, one guy said, oh, you're doing AI, and being like, go fuck yourself, you piece of shit. No, I'm not. I did the fucking gaming. I know my fucking shit face, right? So stop pissing me off with that nonsense. I've done it for real. Like, I've earned my fucking right? Done all the writing out shit. I spent last year breaking myself planning for this year. I get on and I fucking make an effort with this shit, and I hear people saying just silly shit to me. You haven't done the work. You're not as charismatic as me. That's why I'm a good game master, because I have all the natural shit, and that's why I do the YouTube better. That's why I connect with people better, because they know I know my shit when I talk to them. And if you're in the middle of hating me, you can't take me in. You can't even know who I am. Oh, I'm insane. No, I'm passionate, you fucking dillhole. And you can't tell the difference? Are you unable to see talent? Are you one of these people, if I said, hey, man, can I trust you to find out who's good in the crowd? Unless you have an issue with them. And then I can't get you to see the talented guy? Well, dude, I'm the talented guy. So either you have the eye for it and you're somebody, or you're a fucking nobody. Nothing personal. I know the hate watcher's watching. That's why I wanted to talk to him. He's probably gone now. Right? Pissed right in that little boy away. Go away for a second. Take a breather. Think over what I said. Calm the fuck down. Show my passion. They call me crazy. Dude, you don't get to be me and fucking sit back and not fucking be able to show this shit off to people. It's not crazy. Or part of me is crazy. We're crazy for gaming. Crazy in the good way, with the mind for the gaming shit. Yeah, I'm fucking out there. There's no doubt. Matt, and I'm good at it. My painting can't keep up with my games. So it happens. You want to play so much you can't keep doing. I just say go out and buy some of the auto shit. I'm not as committed to the painting part of the hobby. So my players will paint my miniatures for me. I get a lot of guys that just take care of my miniature stuff for me. Because I serve them with the game. They just take care of the shit. I'm like, dude, I purchase these. Here's the thing, and I'll give them something extra. Right, here's some miniatures for you. Here's some extra paints that I know you need. So I'll take care of them, and they'll be like, cool, man, I'll take care of all your shit for you. And just guys I know that are good at stuff. I just never got into the painting hobby. So I know a few of the guys that will take interesting shit and put their own stuff together. Something like sculpting, piece it together, come up with some interesting shit. They'll even buy other toys or whatever you want to call them and cut pieces off and turn things over and then add shit to them. Next thing you know, the soldier they got from World War II looks like an orc. And I'm like, you're a fucking genius, dude. How the fuck do you pull this off? Why does this look so goddamn nice? It looks like something from a shop, but it's not. Not at all. Not at all. There you go. Sorry to be a little out there on the fucking stream, but it's I can get energetic in games. I'm a game master. Whoo, on. Right? And to be a game master like me, you gotta bring this type of energy. I'll have one more puff before I fucking take off. I hope this night was okay. I knew it wasn't a full stream of the Undead stuff. I still know the aftermath is probably going to be a lot more fun because I got a lot more details. But the Pendragon, Stephen Kennedy, 4th edition. 4th edition. Oh, yeah. I'm not covering just the 1st edition. I'm covering the whole thing for Pendragon. So, and Craig, if you like Pendragon, I'm pretty much sure that you do. I know a lot of guys love that game. Yeah. I believe that. Well, it's not I believe. I know that. But again, it's the first time I'm really talking about that. I did miniature gaming, and I still do. Pucks with people. They're like, man, you always talk pure theater of the mind. Yep. But you still do miniature gaming? Yeah. Fuck. Really? Yeah. Even though you did that video about miniatures? Yeah. You wait, I really will. This year I'll show off some miniatures just to fucking prove the point so people know for sure I know some shit. Look at these guys. Look at these guys. I love you guys. You guys know your shit, don't you? I don't know stuff like this, so this is good for people that are going to be at this part where I'm talking some shit. I'm doing the talk some shit. Pay attention to the chat. These guys are talking some good fucking information about miniatures. Always pay attention to my chat. My fucking guys are good, right? My people are fucking good here. Oh man, Craig, show up to that one. Also, it'd be better than tonight for sure. I'll make. Yeah, I know you will. I know. I love you, and I know you will be. And I promise you, I'll hype you up on that game. I'll get you into the rest of it so you understand exactly what the game is, because it sounds interesting. I'm going to make it make sense. Right? That's going to be the thing that you're going to like. I'm going to make it make sense, and then you're going to like how it makes sense. It's just going to sound interesting. It's going to sound like something you can play and you'll want to play. That I guarantee by the end of Pendragon, you'll understand the gimmick for playing, and you'll want to play it. Anyone who watches the Pendragon will understand how to play the game. Not just it sounds interesting. I'll do more than make it sound interesting. I promise you. I do that though with the games. I just get hyped up. It wasn't about a game tonight. It was about the Undead, but I wanted to teach people about reminding them that you can use Undead for a lot of setting information, connecting it to setting, and then just how dangerous they are. Really go over some of that stuff. So boom, and how you can fuck with people's minds in the right way with it, especially going over the more realistic atmosphere of the whole thing. Right, play more to the realism of atmosphere that spooks you in the real world, and then you apply the fantasy of the Undead under those conditions, right? And then give you some encounter ideas why they're good, but some of the similar encounters, why they're also bad, why they can freak people out. And then talk about the level drain, because look, level drain is so fucking spooky, but I had to be honest with her too. Most DMs, as much as we want to think they went hardcore on it, most DMs didn't. They host rolled it out because the reason you sort of had to, it was a protest. Anybody from the real old school and were around guys, a lot of guys will back me up 100% on this. A lot of players protested no level drain. But you go to Dragon's Foot, that's especially a place where they go to classified for games. Even when it early started, you could just see guys, you do level drain because it's a protest with no level. You do level drain, we don't play. Instant out. Because it just would drain your hard work. That's the way you felt. Now, some guys like Philo, they might fucking love it, right? But a lot of guys just didn't. That's why I found Rollmaster. There's just a number of guys made for it, but not everyone, because it is so fucking grindy and hard, and you got to really have your shit together to play that one and really enjoy it at the same time. So that means only a select number of guys are really going to dig in and really going to be made for that game more than others. A lot of people just wouldn't play Rollmaster. That's probably why it just didn't pop the way it should have. That's where we're at. Like it just didn't pop the way it should have. I say should have, but it just didn't pop. All right, that's where we're at. Okay. That's a good 20 minutes after 2 hours. I hope you've been entertained. I hope it was a good night. It's definitely not as hot as the other nights, but we've had some people around. Maybe people watch us later and they'll hear me talking all my crazy shit. Then they'll enjoy it. I hope some haters fucking take it in and stop all of the fucking drama they're doing. It's like, stop over dramatizing the situation. What the fuck are you guys on about? I fucking poke back. Take a breather. If you can't handle it, why are you talking shit to me? Why are you playing my fucking videos on your stream? You can't handle me going like, oh, for a few minutes, yeah, go fuck yourself. What, really? We got to do all the drama over that? Made me fucking block a bunch of people for no good goddamn reason because I don't want to put up with that fucking dramatic shit. All right, Craig. I love you. Love you, Steven. Love you. Anybody who gets around to this, who was here, Philo, love you, man. Take care, guys. Talk to you.